Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live stream. I'm so happy to have everyone here, and hopefully, you guys can hear me as well. I'm here with a special guest, Claudia. She's joining us today because we've been talking about this topic for a long time, actually, and about how AI can really integrate with the productivity tools that we're using in our everyday lives and how it's going to really advance what we can do in a given day because we can fulfill more functions, right? If we're able to have more help with it, whether it's help through, more people, resources, time, right? is one of the things. If we can have more time, meaning more people can help us. But right now, with the advent of AI coming in, we're seeing so many AI-enabled tools that are really just pushing the limit of what can be really done to really advance the things that we need to do in our everyday lives, make them faster, make them better, ideally make it so that we don't have to worry about them anymore. So today I brought Claudia on to really just throw in the fray a little bit. I'd only give her a little context. So basically, the idea is that I want her to kind of come in and we'll kind of talk through a little bit about the methodology that I have created here for how to manage the important workflows and in my life, and how I'm really trying to find ways to integrate different people or different AI-enabled tools to come in and support those functions. But before we get to that, maybe Claudia, just give a quick introduction for yourself. I know people who have watched live streams before have seen you on, you're a repeat guest. But for people who don't know you yet, maybe you can give a quick intro about you and maybe why AI is like exciting for you, because you've been talking nonstop to me about it for the last few months as well.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Claudia, and I currently run an adaptive fashion studio called Wearable. We make clothes accessible, easy to wear, and stylish. So, right now, AI is playing a big part of my life because for the longest time, I think I was just trying to manage so many verticals within my business, and I started catching myself making mistakes or being behind on expense reports or all the things that people chase you for, all the good stuff. And I was recently introduced to a few AI solutions that honestly just changed my life, saved me so much time, and more importantly, improved my productivity and reduced the mistakes that I made. And I realized that actually a lot of things I can delegate, not even just to another human being, but to all these amazing solutions out there. And that's what I'm so excited to talk about today as well.
Yeah, awesome. So I think like jumping into it a little bit, I want to give a brief about like what is this document you see before you, right? Because I think it's also Claudia's first time kind of looking at this. So I want to kind of explain the breakdown of why I'm thinking of things in this way, and then hopefully explain it along the process. And what I hope that Claudia can help with, for everyone in the audience here today as well, is um, to be a translator. Because like I've thought about this for like the last 5 years. Like it's no small like, exaggeration to say that this is something that I think is accumulation of where all the systems building in my life has kind of accumulated towards. And I think by solving this, we can actually have a lot more, clarity on exactly how we could manage our day to day and what can we truly accomplish in our life, right? So let's start with this, right? So I have a hypothesis. The hypothesis is that I have certain functions in my life that need to be fulfilled for my life to get better over time. So I'm gonna write that down. So I'm gonna write it down here. I'm gonna say there are certain functions that need to be done uh, recurringly in my life. So meaning like daily, weekly, monthly, to make life better. Okay. But for me to do those certain functions, I need people or certain ways for people or tools or whatever to support me. So, for example, I might have 10 things I need to do on a given day. I might need to, or given like day, week, recurring basis, whatever. I might need to water my plants. I might need to do my laundry. I might need to, catch up with friends, my network. I might need to do my finances, my monthly P&L, right? I might need to do investments. I might need to manage my calendar. I might need to book my emails. I might need to attach. And it's already getting overwhelming the moment you have to think about like, wow, what are all the things I need to do in my given life? So I have this idea that like, hey, actually, there's really four ways that other people or tools can help me with this. One is I can get accountability, right? So I have some pain, someone bothers me about it. Hey, do this, do this. Like what Claudia was mentioning, someone's going to be bothering you about it, right? If you don't, do your finance reports and stuff like that, right? If you're running a company, or even if you're in a company and you haven't done your expense reports, someone's going to get in your butt for that, right? So that's one. The second thing is admin management. Some people are just not as able to keep track of everything in their lives, like having to record and jot down and note down every single conversation they had, right? Or write down every event they have on their calendar. And maybe it's not so easy, right? So someone could jump in and help with some admin management. The third thing is total ownership, right? Some things that maybe it's better if I don't do it. Maybe it's better if someone else does it for me because it's their main job, right? So things that come to mind is like if you're not a great investor, maybe you want like an investment advisor, right? Financial advisor. If you have like a really big place to clean, maybe having a full-time cleaner might be helpful for that, especially if you're, elderly or you're someone that is not able to fully take care of yourself because of the space that you're in, right? And that's totally okay. And that's total ownership, right? Someone else helps you manage this completely. And then the last thing is what I've been thinking about a lot, which is like automated workflows, which is like bots and AI, right? So instead of having to find like a person to help you with total ownership, instead of having to find a person to help you with admin management or having a tool to help you with admin management, instead of having someone prompt you and poke you every single day to do it, maybe an AI can do all this for you, right? And that's an automated workflow. So maybe we can just brainstorm a little bit here, Claudia. It's like, do you think there's anything additional that people or tools can help you by supporting in your functions? Is there anything else that you think I'm missing in these four categories?
Mm, I think what was interesting was that before this call started, I just casually went on a chat GPT and I typed in how can AI improve my life? I was like, I'm gonna let AI make my life easier even in this moment. And I thought, let me refine the search. Let's talk a little bit more specific to my business. And it spoke deeply on idea generation and how AI can be used to create designs, or AI could be used to manage inventory. I think even just managing all the things that we own in our lives, all the stuff that's in it, it could be helpful as well, not just the inventory and the stock that you hold in the company. Because I am doing like spring cleaning currently, and I just realized that okay, I have to make a whole inventory list of the stuff that I want to sell on Carousel. And I kept thinking, is there a better, easier way to do this rather than me just pricing everything myself, taking a photo for everything? And currently, I'm trying to look for an easier way to do this as well.
Yeah, so what Claudia is mentioning here, which I think is very interesting, and I want to integrate it with our conversation here today too, is because what I understand you're talking about is for one-off specific tasks that you have, you're trying to make life easier with AI. And I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of value there. And I 100% believe that that's what a lot of people are using AI for. Hey, I want to write a blog post. Yeah, ChatGPT it, right? I want to write an email, ChatGPT it, right? I completely understand that's a really valid use case of what everyone is really integrating into AI for. One thing I want to talk about here, where I think is going to solve 80% of the problems, right? Because 20% of the problems are the one-off tasks, but 80% of the problem are the daily things and the recurring things that you need to do that is not AI enabled yet. So what I imagine, right? Like if you think of yourself as running a company as well, ideally as you scale the company, things that are working for the company, things that you know will make the company money, or things that you know will make the company run efficiently, ideally those things are delegated out to newer employees of the company, right? And then you as a founder or you as the management will then go and do R&D for newer things to work on. That's the general life cycle of a company. You find something that works, you find people to work on the things that work, and then you go and do more things that work. That is the idea. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to figure out like, hey, after you've done all those one-off tasks and figure out what works, how do we then integrate them into an AI-enabled tool so that it becomes managed by themselves over time and we don't have to touch it anymore? Does that kind of make sense?
I think so. I guess ultimately, whether it's a recurring or non-recurring task, whenever something pops into my life, a task that I have to do, I anticipate likely that I would have to tackle the same problem with slightly different nuances in the future. So if I
Mhm.
do look for a system to solve it now, I can only imagine that it will just get easier in the future. And more importantly, if my teammates have to do it too, that they won't go through the same inconveniences that I did.
Yeah, 100%. So I think like there's a lot to be said about that statement too. Like ultimately you do one-off things because you hope that it becomes something recurring that adds value to your life over time. So 100%. And I think what we want to talk about here now is like what I've noticed personally in my life is I end up, having all these functions that I know need to be done. And I'll show you examples of mine, and then we'll work through examples that maybe Claudia can put in for hers as well. But basically, like I feel like there's three main reasons where I get stuck. Where it's one, it's like, hey, I got bogged down by admin, right? Hey, how do I organize this information? And also other lower priority tasks are not done. I'm like, oh, there's so many things, so many functions that need to be done, right? Or maybe let's call them functions, higher priority functions. And let's call this one functions as well. Oops, functions. And then the second thing is like you might feel that everything is urgent and you get decision paralysis. And then the third thing is you don't get enough pain from not doing things. Like oftentimes when you're doing things to improve your life, yeah, they're there to improve your life, not necessarily maintained, right? Well, some of these things I'm gonna talk about are maintenance, but oftentimes, even if you don't do perfect in all of these different functions, you might not die because of that. And maybe for some people that's a good thing, but for me, like because there's no like immediate pain from it, I might not get that much motivation or that much push to actually get all those things done. So then my thought process is like if I can map out a framework where I have a status for my functions. I have like, am I satisfied with this? Is it still painful for me to do? Could it be better? Right. And slowly move everything I have towards like satisfied, where I'm satisfied with this function being handled, whether by myself, that's fine, right? Whether by someone else with total ownership, that's fine too, or whether by an I just want to be able to know that I'm, either I delegate it and I'm happy with the results, or I'm just like, really enjoying this way of doing things. So I think what I'm going to jump into right now, Claudia, is I'm going to start with some examples of mine. And then I want to jump into you and then see what we can come up with together for you and see how this, maybe this workflow, even this is a workflow, right? How this workflow of mapping out your functions could be useful for not just me, but for many people in the community as well. So I'm going to also switch to another view so we can see more of the page. And by the way, we're trying something new. We have a Haku cam now. So this is a Haku cam. You can see my dog in the background. Yes, hello.
Change, like make my face smaller and make Hakuken bigger. Like I think that's what the fans really want to see.
It's fine. We gotta
We
wait
want
for a poll. We gotta wait for the community to let us know. Yeah, so I'm gonna start off with this, and I'm gonna hide a lot of other stuff so that it doesn't get overwhelming for people to kind of understand what I'm going at with this. But basically, um, I just had like a thought where I'm gonna organize this by the areas of life that I have. So like I have a family area of life, I have a finances, I have a health, I have a knowledge of lifestyle, mindset, whatsoever. And it's not ordered in any particular way. It's just I think in alphabetical, whatever the initial generation of it was. But the idea is that I want to have one function in all of these areas of my life that would give me 10x return on my effort, and it'll make my life that much better. So let me give you an example, right? Let's just start with health. Let's make health super simple. If I, and I'm going to show you like these three sections. Basically, the first one is my status, right? Where is it in my life? Is it something that is painful? Is it something that could be better, or something I'm very satisfied with, right? And the first thing is why. Why do I want to have a function for personal hygiene? Well, I want my physical health improvements, right? What does it mean to have personal hygiene? Well, it means I shower often. It means I brush my teeth, wear my retainer, do sunscreen, thin skincare rather, and then wear sunscreen. And then what do I think is the desired workflow? How do I think I would have a workflow to solve this problem, right? Of personal hygiene. Well, not a problem, but like solve this function that needs to be done. Like it needs to be done every day, like no matter what. I need to shower, I need to brush my teeth, I need to wear sunscreen, I need to do my skincare. But how do I make sure that happens, right? So right now, what I'm thinking, like, and this is pre-AI, right? I'm like, hey, maybe there's a reminders that happen unless I do it. But that's actually kind of a dumb solution, right? And then I'm gonna talk about like how we might want to think bigger, right, and think grandiose to see how we can solve this in a bigger way. So what I started thinking about was like, okay, well, what if when I walk the door, there was like the security sensor that says that checks if if I haven't brushed my teeth yet, I can't walk out the door, right? What if there's something like that? I'm just like hypothesizing, or what if like I have to walk through the bathroom to get outside in any way, like I have to like get through the bathroom and I have to do certain things. I have to like use my phone. Like I've seen some smart home solutions where some people like have to use their phones and have to like slap it against the wall to prove that they've brushed their teeth and they prove that they've done certain things, or like maybe they've picked up their sunscreen and then they like there's a actuator that checks if you open up the cap or not for your sunscreen, right? But like stuff like that where I'm like, okay, well, what is the potential like technology advancements that would make this something that is like so easy for me to do? Again, remember I said the two ways it can be satisfied is I delegate it, or it's efficiently enjoyable for me to do, or it's easy for me to do. Obviously, I can't delegate someone to brush my teeth. Maybe that is something I can do in the future. I don't know. Maybe, right? But ultimately, I'm looking for a solution that would essentially help me make it satisfactory, right? And just to talk about this a little bit, I'll handle this more later on. But basically, like, there's two sections down here where one is like, okay, what is the workflow that I'm currently using to help me manage this specific function? And then where is the database that I'm storing the record of it being done? And I want to make sure that these two are very important, and I want to explain why. So the first one is the workflow. So right now I have a dumb workflow. I have like a daily quest inside my Microfund app that basically pops up every day and says, "Hey, do personal hygiene." And then when I'm done it, I check it off. But there's nothing other than a reminder, right? No one is helping me. Nothing or no one is making it easier for me in a sense, right? It's not like suddenly I'm waking up and then someone's shoving a toothbrush in my face, right? So like all I'm doing is I'm just seeing that there is a tool that pops up something for me and I check it off and I'm done. And then, but the second thing is the database, right? Well, how am I saving a record of it being done? How do I know that I've done this consistently over the last like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, right? So then I need a database to store this record. And you can actually see that it's very important when it comes to like, let's say something about, let's say, your network, right? Let's say you're building your network, and why do you want to build your network? Well, it's because you want to outreach to people to grow your network. You want to nurture people up the affection score, so you have deeper and more meaningful connections, right? So maybe one of the what's is you want a meeting a day, right? And maybe at the end of the day, you want so many people that are close friends, right? Maybe you want 10 close friends by the end of the year. And my desired workflow might be regular check-ins, right? Maybe reminders of last conversations, birthday messages, and presents. Well, lo and behold, we have a Notion template for that, right? That's why I built so many Notion templates to help me manage so many things. I decided, hey, there's a direct workflow to do this, right? Manage my network, and I have it on Notion, right? And then for me to save the record of this being done, for me to keep track of all the different people in my life, in my network, I have a database called my network to keep track of all these, right? So you can kind of see like where I'm going with all this. And what's most important actually is also seeing the workflow and how it's supposed to help you. So having a manage my network template does the admin management of my network. It manages the whole admin. I don't need to think about when's the next time I should speak to someone because it surfaces based on the contact frequency of someone in my network when I should reach out next, right? So that's an example of how admin management works. I'm only do one more example and then I'll jump over to Claudia. But my third example for this is like manage calendar. So while I want this is I want to make sure that my time is managed effectively. What I would appreciate is if something dropped up to my life, someone scheduled some time with me, it immediately becomes a calendar event. And then like the most ideal workflow is like if I can create events from voice or text and also easily see my availability and schedule my time. And other people can see my availability and schedule my time. So this I've automated already. I have this tool called Motion with an M that has this auto scheduler, right? If they go to a link, they can schedule time with me and they can see what time I have available in my calendar. It's very easy. The next thing is with Google Assistant, you can actually, create events with voice. You don't actually even need to go and type it in. You can just use voice and it'll ask you questions or I'll prompt you and say, hey, do you want to add a description? Do you want to, where is this going to be? It's pretty easy. that's automated for me already. And where I keep the record, the database of all these different events is in my calendar. I know I can go to my calendar for a source of truth, whether or not to figure out, how my calendar is structured for a given day, week, month, and so on. So I want to talk about the status though. Like, why could it be better? Why am I not satisfied with this? Well, I think there is one more automation that I'm missing, which is like, hey, if someone sends me like a WhatsApp message or someone sends me like an email, it automatically jumps into my calendar. That should be like the baseline. Like, that's where it could be better for me. But I know that technology will get there soon. So that's how I'm currently organizing this for my personal satisfaction. So Claudia, I hope that made sense to you, and I'm going to jump to you now and then see. I created a duplicate of this, and I wanted to see like what you might have on your mind that functions that you think will be helpful for you.
Yeah, I started writing something as you were speaking. I was like, yeah, this thing has been like, it's like a itch that I haven't scratched for months. Like,
Hmm.
I think what I found quite surprising sometimes, I forget I have subscriptions and then they get renewed. I'm like, oh no, I did not want to renew that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Watches money fly away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so I just thought that was something that would help really. Yeah, so I just wrote it up.
yeah, I love it. And actually, so this is where I can go deep into some of the philosophy that I've had while I was building up the systems that we have inside the community. Is that like why this process I think is the accumulation, as I mentioned in the beginning of the live stream, I think is accumulation of all the work that I've been doing with CodeX3, right, with system building, is because a lot of these functions which has become painful in our lives, we've actually been able to solve with a lot of systems that we've built. So I want to show you something, right? So how I would answer this, by the way, is like, hey, I love this. This is a clear why. This is a clear what as well. And then design workflow is very clear. So if the specific workflow that you want, right? And then I'm going to explain to you what the solution we have today and what I would do to make it even better, right? So right, you're in a painful stage. To get from painful to could be better, you just need reminders, which is very, very interesting, by the way. Look, I can't even begin to explain how interesting this is, like the different stages of like status we're going to move towards, okay? So right now, your problem is reminders. You just need a reminder, and you think with a reminder, things will get better for you. So let me show you something interesting. I'm going to open up Notion on my side, and then I'm going to go ahead and let's see. So I'm going to open up Notion, and then I'm going to open up my subscription tracker.
Of course, you already have a solve for this.
Yes, but I want to show
Genius.
you where it will go better, okay? Because I think it can be better. So let's see. I even have a video to show you. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. Okay, so I have this thing called subscription tracker. This was requested by another Coach3 family member, so that's great. And basically, what it does is that I have a subscription tracker. You can skip everything else. I'm just going to explain it very simply. But basically, when I have a new subscription coming in, and I know what it does is it's auto renewing or is it canceled already, I know which credit card it's going to go towards, how much cost it is, like how much yearly I might save if I cancel it or whatnot. But the main thing is that I have a renewal date, and I can set a specific reminder on it. So like a week before the renewal date comes, it might send me a notification through email or through the Notion app, and I'll know to go in and then do whatever change I need to do. Maybe I need to cancel it. Maybe I need to negotiate down. Whatever I need to do, I have a very easy way for me to like manage the subscription. Okay, so if I was in your position, in the painful states, I would go like, okay, well, I have a new workflow here. I'm going to say I need to use my subscription tracker in Notion, right? Makes sense to me, yeah? And then where you would save the information about your subscription is you might have, oh, my most important databases. Where'd it go? Oh, interesting. This is actually linking to another place. Very interesting. Wait, where is this? Oops, sorry. Oh no, it's in the right place. Oh, I just didn't delete everything from here. Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so the next thing from here is I'm going to add something called subscription tracker, right? Subscription tracker is going to be the database where you store this information. And then maybe for your workflow, this one is admin management, right? So does it make sense to you for so far? You have a
Yeah.
pane. All you want is reminders. Sorry, I have a stuffy nose. But reminders, what you can do is you can solve it with the subscription tracker that we built in Notion, right? Makes sense. Okay, so then let's change to me. Like, so I've used that for like a year. I've used that for 2 years. Okay, and I'm going to tell you where right now for me
No.
it's could be better, and I want to move it to satisfied. So what a
Mm.
satisfactory solution to me now today is not only do I want reminders, I want someone or something to just go and do the cancellation myself itself. Why do I need to do it? Right? Why do I need to go in and call and do the cancellation when I can just in my subscription tracker, if I just say I want to cancel it next time it renews, done. It'll just go and cancel it for me, right? So there's a few ways we can solve this problem, right? One is that like traditionally people just get personal assistants to handle this, right? Oh, there's a reminder that comes up, personal assistant will handle it, and then they'll go and do the cancellation. But not everyone has access to a personal assistant, and I think that's what a lot of tools are doing today to help democratize people's productivity. Is that you don't need an assistant to manage this because a tool is going to be your assistant, right? You have an AI or whatever. So then my thought process is, if I was thinking crazy about this, is that hey, what if there's an AI that could just link with all these different tools? They can just automatically send an email to do a cancellation if it's a tough one to do, like Comcast or something. Or if it's something easy to do, it'll just go to the website and press the button, right? How simple could it be, really? So that's where I'm thinking. Do you understand the theme now, where I'm going with this?
So what is the alternative if it's not a personal assistant?
So the alternative is, what if there's a tool that could do this, right? And there probably is. There actually is, by the way. So not to like give
That's where I'm
anyone.
looking for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a subscription AI manager tool. There's definitely something like this. I've seen this before. Usually they do that for like businesses, right? So for example, let's see, where is this? Oh, we need to go AI subscription tool, auto cancel. Yeah, so something like this, right? Um, and then there's a bunch of these like Trim, Rocket Money. But my issue with these, by the way, is that the you have to pay a subscription to get rid of your subscriptions. So that's what I don't like. That's why I built my own kind of tools around it. But what I'm trying to say is that like as tools get more powerful, we're actually going to be able to integrate AI with our existing Notion systems as well. And if not Notion, then other tools. I want to show you guys this thing. This is amazing like Quota AI thing that I came across. I used Quota way back before I even heard of Notion. By the time they were pretty lackluster in their I guess in their implementation, like their software is kind of slow, which is why I never ended up using them. But look for this. Like, so for example, right now, everybody is doing like a tool where it's like, okay, you can use AI to write a blog. That's basic, okay? But right now, what you can do is you can say, hey, you can build a solution builder. For example, if I have notes from the meeting, right, it'll just automatically generate a summary and action items from those notes. That's pretty cool as well, right? Normally, before, if I had to summarize notes as part of that would be someone's job at a company. That would be my job from my own reflections, right? That would be like that'll take certain time, it'll take certain effort, and that's definitely a function that could be resolved with AI, as we can see here. But there's more than that, right? We can go and say, hey, I'm going on a trip to like Paris, right? And then I want to see all the hotels near the Eiffel Tower, ranked by TripAdvisor rating, price per night, checking in out times. It's all there, right? Very, very simple, easily, instantly generated. Again, that's something that I might have to do when I go on vacations. One of my functions is I need to know my itinerary. I need to plan my itinerary. But now I can get AI just automatically generate a list for me, right? And it's probably going to be much more accurate than I could ever do because I don't have infinite knowledge and all the information available on the internet. I can't see all of that. I have limited capacity, right? And you can just build like new templates now using AI. Like I think it's so crazy. Like right now, like for me to build a subscription tracker, this took time, this took effort, and this took a lot of R&D to figure out what exactly I needed and all the community needed. Now you have tools that have read and have seen all the different templates in its platform, Coda, Notion, whatever, and you can just generate a template. Like what the heck? So and it's gonna be better than any template that anyone can create, right? I want to be clear. For general 80% of the cases, it's only the edge cases where you need like specific customization that you're not going to be able to handle that. But that's where I'm going at with this, right? I want to go into the process of saying like, okay, I have this function that needs to be resolved. I know a template is all it's going to do for me for the most part is admin management, means it's going to handle the workflow for me. How do I jump to the next step? How do I jump into full ownership, whether by someone like an assistant or by a tool, right? How does the tool take the framework that's been created, the workflow that's been created, and do something with it? So again, back to Claudia's example, if I have a subscription tracker which is already telling me the reminders before the renews, what's stopping me from finding an AI tool to plug into it to then simply just do the cancellation for me as well, right? And I think that future is possible with AI and AI enabled tools.
Like to add to that, like if like the only way I would want to subscribe to that is if it could help me make a effective decision, or maybe decisions that are even better than what I would make. If the AI tracker tool can even measure how often I use it and realize that I'm not actually using it, it can automatically cancel for me.
Exactly.
Uh, I
Exactly.
think Google Gmail, right?
Yeah.
If I subscribed to a newsletter and I never open it, they're
Yeah.
like, hey, by the way, you haven't opened any of these emails, would you
Yeah.
like us to unsubscribe this for you? And I just hit
Exactly.
yes, and I was like, this is great.
Exactly. No, so you exactly hit it on the head, by the way. And I love it. I love it. And I'm so glad I brought you on because I think you understand the problem statement here is that what I've done for the last 2 years is creating systems and to the limited by the technology we had at the time, right? But it's to create systems that anybody can use and customize and continues to like, expand. But ultimately, they can only help you so far with admin management. And ultimately, if you have 10, 20, 30 things to do, even with admin management, it's hard. You're not going to be able to do that every single day, every single week, every single month. You need some kind of delegation, right? Which is where I start looking into like, well, total ownership. How can I get, someone who's very versed in a specific field to just manage that part of my life, right? A financial advisor, right? An assistant to help with scheduling, a cleaner to help do cleaning, maybe a cook to do cooking, whatever, right? I started thinking like, what are all those things I could potentially delegate out and hire? But then again, not everyone can have that possibility. And again, even if you hire someone, it's not like they're going to do a perfect job. No one's going to be perfect, right? There's no perfection out there. So then, with the advent of automated workflows with bots and AI, that's where everything changes. That's where I think like CoX 3, like 3.0 is going to be, right? Right now, I think we're in 2.0. We've done 1.0, we're at 2.0. What I think 3.0 is going to be is how can we start creating all these different templates and make them more than just templates. They don't just tell you when your subscription is going to end and when you should renew. They're going to tell you exactly how many times you use the subscription, and they're going to tell you exactly if it's a good idea to cancel or not based on how much money you have in your bank account, right? Oh, you could get additional $300 this month, right? If you just cancel these things. And look, you have this thing on your wish list, on your shopping cart that you need to buy, that you want to buy this, new Dyson new Dyson hair dryer. To do that, you need to cancel these things, right? How amazing could that be?
Actually, it's really interesting because my phone is perpetually like low on memory. And one thing that I had noticed recently is that Apple will actually suggest to you the things that you should offload from your phone. I'm
Yeah.
like, great. I don't have to go through my photo album and delete things bit by bit. It's literally showing me this file is taking up one whole gig on your phone. Do you
Mm-hmm.
even need it? And I realized that all the stuff was just airdropped to me from for work, and I just never opened it as there's no need for me to have it on my phone. And to be able to take away any sort of mental drain in making
Yes.
these decisions and finding things, that would be brilliant, really.
Exactly. And I think to add on to that, like, let me just even move on to more examples because I think this is like the sky's the limit here, really. Okay. So I have my network template that basically gives me a schedule on when to check in with people, right? Reminders of my last conversations with them and any birthday messages or presents I should give them, right? Seems pretty simple. Seems like a pretty good thing already, right? To do admin management. Okay. But the next step is, why do I have to reach out immediately? Why don't they just send an automatic message to the people I should reach out to, start a conversation, and get them to the stage of where I want to have them, which is I want to have a conversation with them. I want to have a phone call or meet them in person. I think that texting back and forth to find the time, to see when you're free, when I'm free, hey, what's up recently? I want to skip all that. I want to go straight to let's have a conversation, let's have a meal together, let's sit down, I'll go to your place, you go to mine, and let's have a very deep, meaningful conversation for like 2 hours. That's what I want, right? And there is still that bit, which is like, hey, I know I should reach out to this person, but maybe I'm not doing it. Again, the problem is I might not work on these functions because I think the admin of going into my system and finding this information and recording down the conversation that we had and making sure that their information is updated, that might be admin work that I still don't want to do. Someone still needs to enter information in, right? So what I'm saying is that if there is an automation that just says, hey, you just met with so and so today, you just met with Claudia today, what do you guys talk about? Forget what do you guys talk about. Maybe just even listen to the conversation and it already jotted down everything, right? Like, how crazy could we get? And obviously, right now I'm dismissing all those problems about like, privacy and whatever. But let's assume those are things are gone for a second, right? Like, I'm just trying to think as crazy as I can about how can all these different things in my life, all these different functions, how can they be reduced down to like just things that happen in the background, and I can focus on the things that I care about the most, which is like the meaningful conversation, right? I can focus on like actually just going to the meeting that I need. I can focus on having good personal hygiene, right? And not having to like worry about all these things.
I just thought about something exciting as well. Like one of the biggest pains that I'm experiencing in my company is just social media, creating content, and constantly feeling like, wait a minute, we do have a lot of content, we just haven't put it out. If there was an AI that said, hey, these are all the photos that you haven't used for your social media feed, and these are all the story ideas that you have yet to tell, based on Google search results in the last month, we think that you should post this. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
Exactly.
New
Exactly.
company?
No, but like you can see, like if we can, okay, and so maybe let me talk a bit about like what I envision, like the future of like the things I'll be working on, at least this year, right? Like I'm so motivated for these AI enabled tools. Like I think they can do so much. And I think there's a way to build no code AI tools for this, right? Like where Notion has succeeded in a lot of ways is that it's helped everyone build admin management for themselves. If you wanted a CRM for yourself or like a task manager, a custom task manager, right? Or a bug tracker or whatever you might be using Notion for, you wouldn't be able to do that in the past without having like a costly subscription to like some kind of ERP software. You would definitely need some sort of like, Salesforce or, like if it's a help desk thing, like a Zendesk, right? Or, all those different like tools that do something very specific. But now you have a general tool that helps you build like admin management for a lot of different things. I think in the near future, you're going to have an AI tool that's going to help you build these workflows for all these things that you might need to manage in your life and connect them all, right? And draw insights between all of them, right? Right now, I have dashboards that help me see like, okay, based on my happiness this week and my sleep this week, this is how many tasks I've gotten done, and I have to make the executive, decision and process to say, hey, because of these two information, maybe, just maybe, there's a correlation of how much I sleep makes me more productive, and how happy I am is related to how much I sleep. But that's a very like low IQ way of doing it, in my opinion. My IQ is not going to match like an AI, and then AI can look at statistics past this week. They can look at this month. They can look at this year. Then they can look at everything, every given thing in my life, right? So that's where I think the advent of AI enabled tools are going to bring us. And that's like the thing I'm very excited to like, work on, I think, for the next year, because I think that's where that's going to make all the difference. Because I've lived through this, right? I have personally what I was able to do pre-system building, like let's say pre 3, 4, 5 years ago, just with a notebook and just with my mental processes, I probably did like only like 50% or maybe 30% of the things I can accomplish today. So just having admin management, I have improved my productivity by at least 2x, if not 3x. Okay. I foresee with AI enabled tools, my productivity will shoot 10x. And just with the examples I've shown you here, I have all the dashboards to show me all the information I might want to gain and glean from my life. But going through a dashboard is admin work. And researching and understanding that information is more admin work. This can all be automated.
I want to add in, just as we were talking about our search for subscription tools. So right now the process is we notice a pain, we analyze why we want to solve this pain, and then we think about a low level solution that we could possibly find. And what I started doing throughout this call was I went on the chat GPT and I typed in recommend, what did I say? Recommend auto cancel subscription tools, and it comes out with a concise list of 5 options and with a pros and cons list.
Mhm.
So I'm using AI to look for more AI
AI,
tools, and
yes,
it's concise. It's much more concise than Google search, because I dread this process of digging through pages and going back out and going back in. Something to consider, really. I even typed out give me recommendations for virtual sizing tools, then bracket fashion. And it gave me 5 options, 5 companies, 5 most popular companies that create virtual online dressing experiences, like how to find the right fit.
yes,
This is amazing.
exactly. And I think like, so this is where we're going to get into like the latter part of our conversation, right? Is that obviously there are going to be companies that specialize in building these tools, and that's great. We should use them. Okay, my take is that we should use them if we can, and we explore them, uh, because if they make it their whole business to work on this specific use case, they're probably be better, right, and more tailored to that use case than something that's only very generalized, right? So what we have to do then is we still need to make sure that the data is still in our pocket. So no matter how many different workflows and different tools you use to solve a specific function, my take on that is that you still need to find a place that you own, right? That you can save all the information in one place in case you need the information in the future to migrate to other products as they come along. Because the thing about new products and new businesses is that they can fizzle out just as fast. And that's just the way it is, right? Startups don't last forever, right? 80% of startups fail. And it's not any fault of the products, not any fault of the founders, not any fault of anything. It just might fail. And so for us to still maintain sanity, right, in the case that let's say we're using 20 different tools, 20 different services, handling 20 different things, we still need a place for us to save all those things in a safe place for us to still be able to manage it and use it however we will. So that's where my second idea comes along. It's like, hey, on one hand, let's use AI to revamp all the different workflows I have in my life, turn those admin management templates I have into like AI enabled templates. But on the second hand is how do I then go and make sure that information is still safe in a reasonable place in case I want to switch to any tool out there? How do I still keep the data sanctity safe, and how do I make sure there's still one source of truth? So an example of that, I think, is for my network. Yes, I have a database which stores all my network inside Notion, right? And that's one place I might save information. But as I see that there's more different tools out there, I came across this tool called Clayearth. Again, I don't know if I might be using it in the future. I might. But basically, it's everything that I do inside my templates for my network. And basically, it just how do I show it? So it just does like reminders for conversations. It lets you easily jot down your conversations. Again, it's still missing that bit where it's like I just wanted something to like easily glean like what the conversation was all about. Maybe a transcript of like my meeting with someone and then just taking the raw points from it. That could be really cool, right? But basically, having this kind of tool means that all my data is saved inside their tool. And if they shut down, I'm screwed, right? So how do I make sure that information is still exported on a consistent basis into somewhere that I can control, right? So on one hand, it syncs with your Google contacts. So Google contacts will save some of the information. Will save the basic, like, their name, their number, their contact, their address and stuff like that. But it's not going to give me all the information that I need that will help me necessarily, at the same level as what this tool is providing me now, right? Notes about what we talked about recently, stuff like that, and connections that we might have. Maybe they also know this other person, and this know this other person. There's these connections that are needed. So ultimately, what I still need is I still need a database to store all these information. And for now, my database of choice is Notion, right? But maybe in the future it'll be different. Maybe it'll be in my personal server or whatever it might be. But I want you guys to think about it from this way. You can separate all these three things because I think something I had in the past, which was anxiety about like, hey, if I lock myself to a tool, what will happen to me, right? What will happen when I actually want to use another tool that's better? What if I want to change the different ways I use my system, right? How could I have that uh, like reconcile with the way I want to do things, with the functions I need to do? And my solution for this is if you have a table like this that shows you all the different functions that you have in your life, and you have a very detailed track of the workflows that you need to solve the problem, and you have a very detailed track of all the where the data is stored, it makes it very easy for you to swap in and out the workflows that you might need to get the job done, and also know where the underlying data is at any given point if you want to start from scratch on a new workflow. You just simply need to migrate the data over. So that's where I'm thinking about things, and hopefully that made sense for you guys. I will be releasing this template for uh, community members of CoX3, so I'll just move it into the workspace that we have. So if you're part of CoX3, feel free to join us and check out this free template that's going to be for you guys to start planning out and using. I definitely hope it's useful for you guys. I'll keep working on it and refining it as we go along because I think that there's still so much to build here. There's still so much value that can be had. And yeah, maybe Claudia, have any last thoughts for the audience? Like based on like you were definitely thrown into the deep end on this. Like you had no idea what was gonna happen. You had the understanding that it was going to be AI enabled in some way. But yeah, at this point, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking this biscuit tastes very good. Sorry.
Don't forget to snack, guys, and drink water.
I got hungry. I'm sorry. Um, you asked me that question just right after I put the whole cookie in my mouth.
I didn't realize. Sorry.
It's good you didn't realize. I'm sorry. Could you do that again?
No, just what are your thoughts? Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Um, I think I've been kind of on the back pedal of searching for new AI solutions. I, of course, welcome them if it just pops into my feed or falls onto my lap. But now I'm so much more excited to actually dig for these tools because if there's so many solutions out there, I do think that I'm underutilizing a lot of the current practices that I could be doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and like responding a bit to the comments in the live section, like yeah, I think like the potential of AI enabled tools is amazing, and definitely it's going to need some trust from our end because it's going to need to have access to so many parts of our system. But as long as we understand where our underlying data is and we try to own that, and we understand what workflows the thing is solving and limit its scope to that workflow, I think we're going to have so much more amazing possibilities coming out from all of this. And yeah, I think the sky's the limit. And I think I'll keep talking and sharing with everybody what potentially could be solved. And yeah, Claudia, have any comments?
Yeah, man. I'm looking at the live chat. Think or swim. If you're looking for a receipt tracker, there's a thing called Expensify. It's like so amazing. You can upload a photo of a receipt. It automatically finds out the vendor, how much it is, the date of the receipt, and it compiles it into this beautiful expense report for you. And then afterwards, you can use it to submit claims. You can use it to track your own expenses. What else have I been using it for? um, 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 you can export it as an Excel sheet, and all the receipts will be like in a PDF on the side. Go look at it. It's called Expensify.
Exactly. So many amazing tools out there, guys. And yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start building out like this live in the sense that my personal functions will be something that is live for the whole community to see. And whenever I come up or find a new tool that solves this problem very efficiently and very effectively, you guys can be the first to know. So hopefully that's something that we can all learn and grow together. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you, Claudia, for joining us as part of this live stream. It's been a great time, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend.